All right. I believe we're live. Yeah. Just getting things ready. Yeah, that feels great. That feels good. And I'm going to move my camera a little bit to kind of better capture my keyboard. Oh my goodness, Kieran, you're quick on the draw, man. Jeez. It's good to see you, man. How you doing, dude? As you can see, we finally got Unity working, and I figured out what the issue was yesterday. I figured out the problem and why Unity didn't pop up, which I'm kind of happy about it. On the other hand, I feel kind of sad because I low-key kind of wanted to keep doing some engine deving today and work on the collision, and I was thinking of some other ideas I want to do in terms of modifying the shader processing and pipeline we had going on. But oh well. It is what it is. And as much as I like the game engine project, I'm trying to save myself. A notification popped up. Oh my goodness. YouTube's on it, man. YouTube's on it. Well, anyways. So yeah, engine project. Actually, you know what? Let me just check something. I just want to check one little thing on the engine project. Cuz I'm a little bit curious about something that we couldn't figure out yesterday. So before we do any game deving or level designing, let me just check one thing, because I'm curious about this engine. What's up, GemZZ? And while that loads, let me open up the actual asset. So the issue that happened yesterday that caused Unity to not open and to say that something was open wasn't due to an actual process that was running, but it was due to a file called the Unity lock file. Now the reason usually it gets like deleted or removed, usually it has to be removed before you can open up Unity, and that's usually not a problem. However, because yesterday my CPU overheated and forced my computer to just like crash unexpectedly, it led to my NTFC partition on my SSD to be marked as dirty and therefore unable to be modified. So that lock file was just stuck there, which is what caused all of this. So you had to do the NTFC cleaning. You had to do that. Then we had to remount it. Then we had to, and then we had to delete the Unity lock file. And then I was able to actually start working on, get back to work on the game. So there's your little, if you're curious about what happened yesterday, why the stream cut out early and why we couldn't open up Unity during that was what the issue was. So fun. That was a little investigation rigmarole we had to go through. Thankfully it wasn't that big. It was like just 2 Google searches or 3 Google searches to get it working. One to find out the Unity lock cycle or lock file, one to figure out that there was this NTFC dirty thing that can happen, and then another one to find out the library to do and modify it, to get the NTFS clean function. Not NTFC, that's something else. So that's how we end up here. But now we have access to our files again, and it's beautiful, and life is happy, and we're all good. You smoking right now? I don't smoke though. Also, what's up, Ashmit? Crazy setup. I'm glad you dig it, man. That's a hell of an issue. Yeah, honestly, dude. Are we making art today? Probably some art. Yeah, mostly probably gonna be art stream, but I do want to look at this collision thing because I've been thinking about it a little bit, and I'm kind of curious as to why this behaves the way that it does, because it feels very wrong. And the more I think about it, the more it kind of perplexes me why collision check is behaving the way that it does. And I'm pretty sure all the stuff that we early returned from here shouldn't impact anything, but I actually don't know. I really don't know. So I'm gonna delete it. And I'm gonna try running the engine one more time and see if this works. And I also wanna see if this arm segment thing can be positioned correctly. Like, because we're using it as like a debug thing. But, yeah, we're using the IBM keyboard today too, so let me know if you're happy to see her back or you want to go back to the split key ergo dock. Looks cool. I'm looking at my game engine project real quick to see what a particular bug we're facing is, and you know, just kind of going from there. So projected position. Yeah, with this keyboard, I feel like I need to go slower and more methodical. Just because of the sound and how much energy it requires to like move the keys compared to my nice, smooth, and easy ergodox split keyboard. Who is Kylus? Why sound like Kylus? Yeah, I never heard of Kylus. What game you're making? Well, there's two games I'm making. There's one that's like a 3D platformer in Unity, and then there's one in my own game engine that I'm fighting the urge to work on because like I need to get a game done. And as much as I like working on on my game engine and doing the stuff I want to do for that, I find myself in this perplexing position where I need to just get something done before I work on something much more ambitious like an engine, because I mean, there's a bunch of reasons why you need to do that. There's a lot of problem spaces from just making a complete game that'll give you insight in making your engine and might change how you architect stuff. There's also just how can you design an engine and a game if you can't finish a game? Okay, so we have the dot over me, but I'm not seeing the move to the dot that indicates the hit position. So that's a bit odd to me. But we know the dot assignment the sprite assignment is actually working correctly, so yeah, this is very odd to me. We might have to just do the game maker like kind of hacky thing of just, hey, we're clipping. We should probably just iterate upwards until we find a place of like minimum distance to the ideal or something. Like, it's so jank, but at the same time, it's like might be the easiest option. I don't know. Let me catch up in chat. He's a YouTuber. Okay, meow. I like Split One. This has a metallic sound. Yeah, honestly, I've been kind of falling out of love with this keyboard. I like it, and it's kind of fun. It feels fun and tactile, but the sound just isn't quite the same. This time, love the vibe. Why I sound like Silas? I have no idea, man. It's easier on your eyes than an LCD OLED? Probably not. Definitely, probably not. But I like it because it's different from my day job, so. I don't like my day job, it's just different. I don't know, it feels like I'm entering a different mode and zone when I'm working on here versus when I'm working on a normal LCD, LED kind of setup. You know what I'm saying? Both axes. Yeah, low-key, I might actually just switch, because I want to use my Wacom tablet on occasion, and it's a bit less convenient to do that here. So I'm just gonna 1 second though. 1 second. There's something I'm Okay, yeah, we're gonna do that because I really want to navigate quickly, and doing fast things on this keyboard is very difficult. So goodbye to the IBM. I love her. Special place in my heart, the buckling spring keys. But I don't know. This is my home. This is my go-to keyboard. This is the money maker. I guess you could say. Oh yeah. Yeah. We can navigate so easily, and I can have access to my tablet in the middle here. That's exactly what I want. I'm curious as to... what's up, Joker? What's up, Mayar? Were you here last stream? Metroid vibes. I dig it. How are you guys doing today? Hope you guys are doing well today, this fine evening. Can you explain me, please? We're just working two things. I'm gonna be working on a level I'm designing, but I'm also just doing a little bit of engine work right now, out of curiosity. Yeah, this is very weird to me. Why this emerges, why you can like walk. Like why the Y, there's a better enforcement of the Y collision than there is on the X collision. And why it behaves that way. It just seems so weird. And odd. Like it almost feels there's gotta be something else affecting things here, but I doubt it actually. And then what are we doing? Besides setting these sprites. Hit is hit. So if we hit something, we set the position to the hit target plus -32, which might actually be a bad thing because we're assuming you're always colliding with the floor. In reality, you'd actually want to have, oh my goodness, you want to have more data here. You'd want to have like a normal of the surface you're colliding with as well, so that you can apply like a normal times this offset. Why is this -32? That also might be a weird thing. I believe positive Y values move you up. That actually might be why you're clipping into the ground, actually, now that I think about it. Because you're manually, that might be what's happening. Nope, we're still like flipping through the ground. Oh, this is very odd. This is slowly turning into more engine work. I wanted to say that we're gonna be working on the level, and we're gonna do level work, but at the same time, I'm like, part of me wants to just get this working. Part of me just wants this work already. And I know we calculate the normal here at some point. Yeah, there we go. So we could just pass normal, which is a float 2. Oh, the ordering is incorrect. That's why. This is weird. Yeah, normal. And we pass the data correctly. In which case we can now change this from float 2 to instead be hit. I know there's normal 32, which is half the player sprite. Yep, and it's there. Okay, let's see if this works at all. compile error? Why is there a compile error? Why is this an ambiguous thing? No matching multiplication operator for... Oh, this has to be a float. Alright, let me catch up in chat. 1 second, guys. Are you multi-streaming? No. Yo, what's up, Mind Control? What is the resolution? This is so cool. 640 by 480. Love you, be happy. Thank you, Viola Camos. Custom written engine. Last time I checked, he used Unity. Yeah, I usually use... For the other game, I'm using Unity, but for this one, this is the custom engine. Also, good to see you, Mastercrafter. Prefer for OPS programming, CPP, or Java? What do you prefer for object-oriented principle programming, C++ or Java? I mean, it's very different things. It's a very different thing. Like that kind of question. I don't think a deciding factor between those two languages is OOP, because both languages has the ability to do object-oriented principles. Usually the main consideration for people is, hey, how close do you want to be to the hardware, and how much, control do you want to have over memory management and that sort of thing. And so in that regards, object-oriented principles and how they implemented in those languages are not as big of a consideration in my mind. A 3D engine with C++ on mobile? That's a whole thing, dude. Give up so I can go through? Nah, I'm good. The background moving, it looks so hard. No, it's not hard. It's just OpenGL. You just use a perspective matrix instead of a orthographic matrix. Like, even 2D applications with any graphics API you're working with, you're going to be making some sort of projection. It's still going to be 3D space at some fundamental level, even if you're just applying everything with the same Z value. So the only difference here is just what kind of perspective you use. So here, for like setting the matrix, we just use this matrix 4x4 perspective matrix, provide the FOV, the aspect ratio for the window height and width, and the focal point, and you'll get that kind of movement happening. And if you don't want to have that movement, then you can just use an orthographic projection matrix like this one here, a Mat 4x ortho. That's like the same thing in Unity, where you could just have the camera be in a perspective matrix, which behaves like this, where things closer to you move faster and things further away move slower. But you can also just set it to be a orthographic projection, and now everything moves the same amount. There's no foreshortening. Doesn't matter how far away an object may be, it's gonna move in that same way. So yeah, it's not that crazy. It's just I guess technically you can make it a single line, but I kind of break it up into parameters into multiple things. Oh, so what's up, Samurai? Do you need a marketing partner? I'm good. Mainly because I'm not really producing this game in any kind of yeah, it's gonna be available for commercial purchase, of course, but I'm definitely not doing it the way most people who are trying to make this a full-time job would do it. Or actually, I'm not even trying to make this a full-time job. I'm just doing this for the fun of it. I'm just doing it for the joy of making games. And either the people will find it and enjoy it, and if not, that's okay, because part of this is me making something that I enjoy for myself, and the byproduct is you guys get to one day play it, hopefully. Is it C-Line? Yeah, I'm using C-Line. I've heard OpenGL is hard. Now, OpenGL is actually one of the more easier graphics APIs. If you want a hard one, you'd want to use Vulkan. Vulkan is very, very, verbose. I think it's like a 1,000 something lines to just get a basic triangle rendering on screen. OpenGL is actually really easy by comparison. And of course, HLSL is even more kind of easier, especially because usually like you're using it within engines. But well, that's the scripting language though. We're talking about graphics APIs. Yeah, OpenGL is like the easiest one. No, not Unity. Window Manager using i3 and Ubuntu. With Easter eggs, Christopher Cooper. There's somebody else who's asking about that. Probably. I'm not sure though. I like making games too. I'm glad, Joker. Better question. What's your computer setup? All right, let me show you my computer setup. So I forgot what specific CPU I have. I just know I have a 12-core CPU that runs like 3.8 gigahertz or something like that. 12 cores, 24 threads. And then on the GPU side of things, we have a good old-fashioned NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5060. So definitely it's not a slouch. It's not a slouch of a PC. HLSL, yeah, it's a high-level shader language by Microsoft. Which is a high-pitched sound? Probably, maybe the monitor, or maybe like if I turn off this, does it go away? If so, it's probably the Magnavox CRT. And if not, then maybe this. The FM radio station I have going on. Not sure. Could be a lot of things. And if it's not that, then I'm not sure what it could be. Makes think you know Christopher Cooper. No, not personally, at least. But I believe it sounds very familiar for some reason. Engine bit hard for me for beginners creating games. Wouldn't have guessed it based on the monitor, but I get it. Love CRTs. Yeah, CRTs are sweet, man. Do you have B-top? Has more information than H-top? No, but I will check that out, actually. I will check that out. I'll use a RTX 5060 on Linux. Why not? That's what I had already. That's what we had already. Okay. Collision module. We have the normal. And I'm not sure if I played. Yeah, and it's largely the same. So on a weird way, it's like, all right, cool. That's good because it didn't break anything, I don't think. But on the other hand, I'm like, this is weird. For the logic we have going on here, I feel like there should be something different, but it's not. So it's working wrong, but it's working consistently wrong, which is a very odd thing. I'm not sure what one is to do with that. Yeah, so at least that gets fixed. And the query position now becomes hit position plus the normal. So player does not clip. I almost feel inclined to make the player a sphere collider instead of or a circular collider instead of a box collider, because then it becomes less ambiguous how we're supposed to move them relative to orientation when a collision is made. Oh, you know what? No, we do set position here. It's just that over here we don't set velocity. Yeah, so this early returns and then... Oh my goodness. I'm like so befuddled. I have a bunch of other debug information being printed out because I was doing the fixed update things. I had to do a lot of reports, but Yeah, this is very odd. Thank you for making this stream and indirectly promoting normalizing the use of Linux. Yeah, I'm glad, man. Thank you. Yeah, Linux has been great. Even when, like, the parts are kind of... Because I'm doing, like, sketch stuff. So things are always weird. And I'm using, like, things that are not... Like, my laptop is not really great. Like, the way I'm using it's not ideal for it, but... Like, normal Linux is actually pretty easy to work with, and... You can still do all the stuff you kind of want to do with it. Alright, you know what? I'm going to say no to the game engine project for right now. Because this is going to turn into a whole thing. I can already feel it. So, yeah. We're going to put this aside. I'm not going to worry too much about it. We're going to just get back to work on this. Because I just want to get some textures working on here. Yeah, creating a game. Yes, I am. Bulb, yeah, you already know it's incandescent. As well, if it's not for the fact that I'm using ChatGPT to help me code, people despise that. Yeah, I'm not too much of despising people for using it. I just feel like it's like a... I feel like that it's it's like I don't know how to describe it. It just feels like people are losing something by using that. But I'm not one to hate on people for using it. And I'd be lying if I said there's no direct utility to using those things. But I don't know. Let me change this texture. Maybe this will be better, or maybe that's going to be too big for the player. Yeah, maybe like 6 or something, or maybe 5 would be more appropriate size. Okay. Let's work on... Yeah, let's work on this sprite a little bit. Because I actually need to start making this level happen for real. This level needs to happen. Because I'm not broke, but I'm not rich either, so I don't use Mac, and Windows is old. Like, fine, what? Microsoft are masochists, killing their own software. Yeah, it sucks. That's why I switched to Linux, honestly. With everything going with Windows 11 and... I don't know. I also just have like this, became recently very conscious about my usage of technology, and I'd like to feel like I'm in more control of my usage of technology and how I engage with it, and feel like an owner as opposed to a product. So there's been a bunch of things I've been doing personally to just kind of have more ownership. Like, that's why I use like this whole like old digital watch, because like, and I use the CD players now. Even though you can use an iPod, and you'd get the same kind of utility, but the big thing for me is just, I hate that, like, every time I check my phone for the time before, it's so easy to get sucked in, because then you would see notifications, and then all of a sudden, interaction that you wanted to initially just be, like, less than a second turns into something far greater than that because of psychological factors. And I don't like my relationship with technology like that. It feels like I'm being owned by it as opposed to owning it. So I'm kind of moving towards like this idea of just, hey, I like having technology that performs one specific function that I want. That way I'm not like losing something more than I desired in my interactions with it. And yeah, it's been very helpful. Like, I feel like I've been cutting down on a significant amount of time. Like, the only time I spend on it is now is just time I'm like, all right, I actually want to watch a show, so I'm willing to give this time up to watch this thing, and not something that happens. Like, it's very much a conscious trade I do, as opposed to like a kind of like, I don't know, not coerced, but I don't know. What's the terminology for that? What distro do you recommend for UE and Unity use? I just recommend using the ones that are most common, but most of them should support it and work fine with it. It's not too crazy. I can't say too much about Unreal Engine because I don't use Unreal Engine, but I imagine it should be mostly fine, I think. Like, a lot of those engines actually kind of have a decent amount of support for Linux machines, because like a lot of their servers they run for online networking has to like run their engine on there at some level, even if it's like a headless application. But there's like surprisingly kind of a decent support for Linux. There's some weird jank that eventually like will come up, but it's not the end of the world. You can work around most of that stuff. It's not crazy. How we're doing here? Nice. Oh yeah, buddy, this is coming together. Little by little. I have a little less variability, but it's coming together. Let me catch up in chat. Is the product? He isn't the product directly. Well said. The thing I asked was stupid. What did you ask, Eli? Don't worry about it. I use Linux Mint with Unity personally, Mastercrafter, and that's cool too, man. I've heard good things about Linux Mint. Stay away from the guy like this. They're always depressed and thinking of stuff that's bad. No, I'm not. I'm actually very content with my life. I mean, I'm talking very low, but just because, I'm normally happy doesn't mean that our interactions with technology is good. I don't think so. But I'm also optimistic about it. And I think people are able to take control over their interaction with technology. They just have to consciously choose to do that. And that's not a big deal. And keep in mind, like, for me, the trade-off of convenience for like a sense of ownership is like the marginal cost or the marginal benefit for me is like worth it, right? And there's people who don't have that, and even though I may disagree with them, ultimately, like, each individual is in control of what that cost benefit looks like to them and value judgments. So yeah, I don't know. I also think, like, when you work with, because I work with this stuff full time, so I have time to think about, how I work with technology and the relationship people have with the things either that I make for work, or the things that I want to make, or all these other things. Good job. Thank you, William Rowe. Hello, full Arch user. I'm sadly not Arch. I'm using Catchy OS on my laptop, but that's Arch based, but that's like it's very much easier, simpler install process than just raw Arch. The show Ubuntu. Hey, how's your night going? Doing some pretty good, Z-Krills. Just doing some stuff. I figured out some issues with that happened last stream, and now I'm able to actually just work on Unity again, or just work in general with this game project. I'm kind of sad because I actually enjoyed working on the game engine project, but I also need to get a game done, so what are you working on? I'm working on this. I'm working on making some textures for this game. We're doing some basic triplanar stuff, but then we're also I want to do some smart tile thing where you can have one texture for the top, bottom, and sides. And then we're gonna get back to white boxing this level and reworking some of the water shaders, because this has to have water surrounding it, and just to kind of put into perspective what point of inspiration for this. Let me find the image in the Discord. By the way, we have a Discord if you guys want to join. That's where I post a lot of more extensive game dev updates on these games. But in the ideas, I believe I have some pictures with these are pictures I took in Puerto Rico, and I want to replicate some of the scenery there. So these are like the two most prominent images that come to mind as far as like inspiration. So we're gonna have to already have some basic water shaders to get this behavior working. The thing I need to think about is how we're gonna create this kind of white rippling bubble kind of effect that happens in the waves when they collide against surfaces. We're not gonna do actual calculation. We're gonna do some illusion to replicate that effect. I still have to think about how I'm going to do that. Probably just have a baked bitmap object or something, and then use that to determine what part of the water wave is going to be wide and all that kind of thing. But yeah, we're just going to be working on trying to replicate some of this stuff, and then maybe if we're spicy, we might try to fix cast shadows in here because I decided to have fun, and I'm not using Unity's lighting model. I wrote my own like light model with my own lighting components. So I can do specific things with shadow and lighting, and so but there's some things I've broken recently with cast shadows for directional lights, so we're gonna have to deal with that at some point. But that's for another time. Or maybe today, I don't know. We can like just haul butt and get stuff done. Let me catch up in chat, guys. 1 second. Thank you, Isaac BC. Shooty Gaming. This looks so good. The closest thing I've made was a 2D pixel platform shooter where you play as a sheep with a laser gun. Hey, man. That sounds tight, though. And we all start somewhere. I didn't start with this, man. I started with just making a really crappy pixel art piece. Just move on 4 directions on the screen, and then I was like, all right, that's it. Nice CRT. Thank you, Nick's Projects. Where's the Discord link? Let me, you can do @Discord or !Discord. Here's the Discord link if you guys want to join. Thank you, Nathaniel. And then there's also the OS command if you want to see the other information we have. A game live. Yes, we are a Chaos Liver. Or Chaos Liver, yeah. I think I missed what art app you use. I use Sprite. Yep. Gizmo knows. Yeah, I make it on a CRT. Which language do you primarily use? C++ for my game engine, and then C# for Unity CPU code, and then for the GPU we use HLSL, which is like a Microsoft's high-level shader language to do a lot of the fun effects we have going on here. That's how we're able to do, like, for example, I can duplicate this and then scale it and move it up and then like make it big, and yet you'll notice that no matter how I move this object, it still looks seamless. Like the way the textures align are seamless with, you know, any other instances of it. So triplanar mapping is super sick, and we have that in our shader. We wrote we wrote a couple different variations of this shader to get triplanar stuff going on. Yes, I know this project. Yeah, and then we have our CGNC files here with our triplanar UV mapping. Gotta love triplanars. But yeah. You remember the whole Discord? No, you can just type !Discord. What's up, no one name 34? What's your T? It's let me get it for you. Here's a CRT. Actively code on an actually good-looking game on an old computer. Well, I appreciate it, man. Well, HLSL is just a shader language that lets you tell the material or the computer how to render your object. The specific technique you can do with an HLSL is triplanar mapping, which you can use very different ways of doing that. You can use the world space position actually use the world space position to have that seamless kind of look, and use as the index, but there's some weird edge cases for that. You can do object space, and there's other methods for handling how you blend the edges. But I think if you should Google triplanar mapping, you'll find a good article that kind of describes some of the techniques and different options you have when it comes to blending and mapping and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty sick. It's pretty sick. But yeah, that's where writing your own shaders comes into play. It's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. Speaking of which, let me go to this texture over here, because I believe this is the one where I have a lot more has a lot more bearing in terms of how we go about rendering this, because I think I have some of this stuff kind of inverted. Or actually, no, I don't. I think there's some places where I can make this more apparent. There's places where it's like the bricks are much more engulfed by the plaster of the wall. Yeah. And then some of it just starts coming back. Yeah, and then we have some like additional details here and there. Maybe a little dithering, because why not? Started getting interested in graphics using C++ kind of thing. How would you suggest beginning? I was suggested to OpenGL. Yeah, that's a good place to start. That's how I started learning, and I'm still using it for my game engine project. Yeah, OpenGL, and then from there you have a couple different options. You can use SDL, which covers a lot of things. You can use GLFW directly, which has its own things. You can use Raylib, which is kind of like a modular, more robust open implementation of, and like it's a modular, so you can choose the things you want to use and then implement the things you want to implement. But yeah, it's a great place. I know a lot of people like SDL, because it covers a lot of different things. I think somewhat, maybe not recently, maybe it feels recent, but I know they had SDL 3 get released sometime recently, I believe, which has about more functionality and stuff tied to it. But yeah, OpenGL is a great place to learn and get familiar with some ideas, and then if you want to go really into it, you can do Vulkan. Or if you want to be proactive, there's something called WebGPU, which is a new graphics API that's, even though it's called WebGPU, is meant to be used in a bunch of different applications, like even native applications and whatnot, which is meant to like create a more standardized API for everything. But whether that is the case remains to be seen, but it seems like a lot of companies and people are starting to support it little by little. I know Unity is moving towards using that for they're switching from WebGL to that. And then yeah, there's a bunch. I think no matter what you do though, you're gonna be fine, because you're actually trying to learn, and I think that's way more valuable than any specific API you choose to work with. Like, as long as you're spending time in the saddle, practicing and learning and trying to get good, I think that benefits you. I think that's like the most valuable thing. We're just doing some art. Clicking and pretending like he's making a game. I am Nicholas. Opinion on DirectX? I mean, it's fine if you're gonna do stuff with Microsoft, but if you're not, if you want to make stuff for other applications, then probably not. I'm glad, Tristan. The goal here is that you guys feel cozy here while I do some work for the day. Do you mind sharing their purpose? Seems like mirrors of the main one. Which screens? Oh, this one here? That one's just, yeah, that's just a mirror. That's cool to look over to it. Sometimes I want to see something with a different look. And that CRT looks a little bit different than this one, so certain details pop out, other details don't. It's a cool thing. Okay, what we're gonna do with this blob here, we just kind of have this blob hanging out, doing nothing. I realize, like, even though there is this like darker color here, there still has to be some kind of depth going on. So I almost feel inclined to make like a slightly, or maybe darker color actually. Like so. So we can have like some depth emerge. Yeah. This dude has insane. I appreciate it, man. You should scroll from his stream. This is peace. Yeah, get him, Kieran. 4-10 Discord messages, my bro. Oh yeah, I need to check my I'm a part of so many Discords and I just don't check them. I need to just purge myself from a bunch of them. But you guys ever have like Discords that are kind of like sentimental Discords where it's like I have not been on there in 10 years. However, there's people there that like that's probably my only means of contacting them ever, and I probably would want to contact them at some point in life. So I can't bring myself to leave those Discords. Yeah, it's kind of the situation I find myself in. To A-Sprite, I can't think of. Oh, there's Libra Sprite. That's an open source version of A-Sprite. It just doesn't have all the same cool features as it. I don't know though. Like I for what you get with A-Sprite, I'd rather just pay for it, dude. Like this is such a good piece of software. Like I legitimately wish more applications. Like I would use this over Krita or Clip Studio Paint or anything if I could, if it can handle like high-res images better, but alas, it does not, so I'm stuck. But I would if I could. That's a duck? What's a duck? Working is nightmare right now. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I work here now. Hey, welcome to Let's go. My boy. He's returned. Like a YouTube Shorts. Is that intentional or YouTube doing it? I'm doing that. Do you have recommendations for free pixel model creator? I used Pascal, but before it got shut down. Model, you said. I'm not sure if I can really give too much of a informed opinion on that. Because I really don't do too much pixel. Like, I just use Blender for doing pixel modeling. And I just like... Here's the thing, though. Sprite has this cool feature where you can actually have it integrate with Blender. And Blender, you can actually send the UVs directly to Sprite. Like, it creates like this little server and it connects with each other. But yeah, there's like a plugin for Sprite for Blender. And once you model an object and then you UV and unwrap it and all that kind of stuff, you can send that UV directly to Sprite. It makes a layer, and then you can do your pixel art on top of that. And it's an HD layer, so like you don't have to worry about the resolution. So it becomes really easy to model, to texture your 3D model using a tool that feels familiar, and you don't have to keep going back. I mean, you can go back. You're probably gonna have to go back and forth to see and make sure that it looks good, but you don't have to like export the UVs continuously or any of that dumb stuff. Like, you just have the thing, man. You're just good to go. It's beautiful. Oh, I see. This does look like a duck, dude. It does look like a duck. I can see that. Yeah, I'm gonna close this. I don't need this right now. I'm gonna clean up my space a little bit. That was a rumor. As a virtual machine, because I know there's a great utility for open source and flexibility. Made an open world game with pixel graphics. I think there's someone doing that or something, but I don't know. Why is there so many different C++? Because people want to keep making C++ better, and they have to make new versions of it. And then there's the compilers too, which shouldn't change the language specification, but you know, you hate to see it, but different compilers sometimes have different behaviors and different features of C++. So that's how you end up with like a bajillion different versions of C++. And why people like have different opinions about that kind of thing as well. And why people just want to... I mean, that's not the reason why people want to replace C++ with something else, but there's a bunch of reasons for that, but... I did kill all PyCom, did I? Did I not kill? Yeah, my mouse is doing this weird stuttering thing right now. I don't know why. Let's get some more of these colors in here. Get some of that sauce going on. Beautiful sauce. And I want to have like this running, that's still like running runoff from water effect going on here. So we're going to try applying this in a couple places. Just to have it going on. Let's see how this looks in game. Yeah, it's looking better. Looking better. I honestly might make the pixels a little bit bigger. I don't know. Let me actually make this, did I do the thing? Did I do the thing where we can have this be maximized by default? Gameplay maximize, yes. I think I want to add some more dithering, just to add some more textures to this. But this is coming along, I think. I think this is coming along pretty decently. Is he a dev? A dev code streaming? Yeah, I was doing some deving earlier, but I think today we're just kind of doing some sprite work as well. Yeah, I'm glad. Thank you, Basics. Is that a wall or something? Yeah, it's a wall. But it's a hellish, and is the gauntlet of lack of ease of debugging is a nightmare, or so I'm told. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Like you have that fun thing of like seg faulting and just being like, all right, I guess we died at some point. Let's figure out why the seg faulted. And I mean, there's techniques and stuff like that, but it's very different when you work with a language where that's like a first class feature, like error handling and debugging and stuff like that. And then there's also the build system, which is like so annoying to deal with. Like I hate having to use CMake. Part of like why I'm up for my game engine, why I'm just doing a Unity build is because I'm like, all right, I don't want to have to make header files for every single thing. It's basically like creating an interface for every single concrete class that exists. It's like, oh man, that's annoying. I don't like this at all. I don't like this one bit. Okay, am I going crazy? Oh, okay, yeah, because it's up here. That's why. Okay. But there's that, and then, it's either do that, use CMake or Ninja or whatever, or like you just say, hey, I'm gonna do my own thing and make my own like build bash script or something. In which case, okay, it's gonna have to adapt to every change you make to the application or to your code base. So that's like the new responsibility you have to have on top of what you already have. It's like oh, brother. Like, I gotta say one thing, man. Like, even though I'm like, Rust is not I've grown to dislike Rust in my, like, usage over the years. Minor usage. I'm not gonna call myself, like, an expert or anything, or even say that my experience is, like, the experience everyone has. But I'm like, the one thing I will say is that it's so convenient to build and to manage dependencies in Rust. And I get like there's a guy who's making Odin, and he's like, yeah, I don't want to do it like that because people can accidentally add dependencies that are actually bad for your project, and you don't know what kind of dependencies you're adding. And that's a fair point, but I feel like that's a user error thing. I don't know. I just wish that adding a library or something wasn't always a Brobdingnagian task, or just a tumultuous task. That's why I've grown to really like header file libraries, where it's just like a single library, a library that's contained in a single header file, and that's it. Like, it's like, all right, beautiful. That's why I love that. Thank you, man. Like, why can't you guys all be this way? Why can't we just have single header file libraries? Like, just chuck it in and it just works. Don't have to worry about things. Oh man, your art is so pretty, I want to eat it. Thank you, Sam. Too small to me. What are you doing? I'm just making a texture right now. Skystream. Blending 3D and 2D was done well in certain Mario games I saw, and the map was touring on the face of a cube. Interesting. Thank you, Pago Binks. Like the days of the DS gaming. Yeah, I like the Zelda. Like, I know Pokemon specifically did a lot of stuff where it's like, it's 3D, but they have 2D sprites, and So there's considerations they did to like make that work well, which means like having all the assets in the 3D world be tilted towards the camera so it can like look correct and all that kind of stuff. With the type of game we're making, we kind of don't have that luxury. We did another game that's like 2.5D, but that was like a fixed camera position. So we were able to angle everything in the world easily like that and make the assets just natively, just normally have that kind of look about them. Let me add, I think I need to add another color to this. Yeah, I feel like we're in need of like another color group to this. Just add some more color variation, some additional texturing. Yeah, this feels right. This feels right. Yeah, this feels better. I should add a door back to the hub world as well. Because why not? Why not? Why shouldn't I? I think we have actually What happened to the level 1 door? Let me actually go back to the hub world level. And this is level 1, the actual level 1. Yeah. And let's just make this an asset. Actually, I'm curious, does this take me to the correct world? What's a vulnerary Bolchi? Guten Tag. Jermaine Thurman, nice setup. Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. Oh, it feels nice. I have some ideas for this area as well. We're going to be spicing this up more and more. We'll work on the assets later, though. Anyways, let's go to the, here. Please tell me you take me to the correct place. No, you don't. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, but we're not concerned with that. We're going to be making this a actual asset we can place in levels. Level assets. And then there's like key items, I think. Such as the door. This is going to be a key item. I guess we call it a transition door. Cool, now we can go back to 1. No, not this sprite. Yes, save. Game 4, getting close to like a year. I've done like a big rewrite of some stuff though. Like separate, or are you trying to use the game engine for this one? No, they're separate projects. It's just 2 different games. I want to get this game done first, and then I'd like to eventually move to the game engine project. But there's also one more game that's in the pipeline that I need to get done as well before I get to have my dessert, you know? what did I call this prefab? Transition door. Cool, and I can change this to be... It'd be kind of cool if you enter levels and you could just go back. Like, I like the idea of having all my interactions in this game be diegetic and just avoid UIs as much as possible. I kind of hate that I have to have UI for like configs and things of that nature, but I mean, I don't have to, but I can't think of a way that intuitively feels good in a diegetic manner. And there's some things that just work better. If I type in lobby, that should just work, right? Let's try playing this. Do you do it for work or is this a hobby? I'm in cyber, but I have always loved games and wanted to create one. Yeah, this is my hobby. I work in like VR and like the medical industry. So like this is it's kind of different from what I do here. But a lot of what I've learned there has been super applicable in how I architect or how I do things here. Oh, nice. They both work now. Beautiful. So I can go between here and the hub world. Oh, that's weird. Why is this not cleaning up? This is supposed to be cleaning up. That's really weird. That's not updating. I guess because I have no dust manager. That might be the issue. That actually might be why there's a failed assertion over there. Yeah. A two-way telephoto? Like teleport? Yeah, it is. We're going back both ways through that door. It's sick. Thank you, man. Like I said, the beauty of shaders, dude. Shaders is fantastic. This is actually pretty simple in terms of the shader we wrote for this. And we can change the pattern of this. Like, we don't have to have that square pattern. We can do a bunch of other shapes for that effect. Like, yeah, I love shader programming. It's like the funnest thing because you can recompile a shader on runtime. Like right now, I can. Let's just do something real quick. We have this cozy surface shader. What shader are you using? I forgot which. Let's see here. What is this triplanar material shader we're using? Custom smart tiles. This should be something else, whatever. Either way, we can just go and do weird stuff, and it's gonna, we don't have to recompile the game. The game could stay running. Like the game right now, I can unpause it, go into the shader, and we can do some weird stuff with it, like, I don't know. Like v.vertex equals v.vertex plus do like sign. And then costs. I love doing this effect. I always do it a bunch. It's like super simple, but still pretty effective. Or just cool looking at the very least. And then what is wrong with this assignment operator? Why are we not happy here? Because it's a vector 4. Which means we just have to make the W component that. We can go back here, and then now we're going to have something weird, hopefully. Yeah, like look at that now. Like look at the environment. Look at the environment just behaving so weird. And we can of course like do some additional modifications too. Like we can make a float amplitude, I don't know, 0.1 maybe, and then multiply everything by amp. And then now it's gonna be different. So now it's gonna be to a lesser extent. And then we can have like these factors be changed in more drastic ways. So we can have, for example, like, oh, I don't know. You can have like float, phase, maybe equals like 10 or something. And then we have like this coefficient added to these offsets. So that now it's like they ripple in way more extreme ways, which is kind of cool, man. You can just do this kind of stuff. Now the world's just behaving in this weird way. What's up, the homie Chewy? Oh, it's oscillating environment. Yeah, we're making all the vertices oscillate. And it's just the data on the on the shader. So like the colliders are not going to be affected by the shader at all. It's just these things. And because we have the triplanar mapping, it looks like it's growing. It looks like it's growing instead of like just moving normally. So you can do a bunch of stuff like that. You can do stuff in the fragment shader on top of that too. If you want to do something weird, like you can add oscillations to anything. Like you can add, I don't know. We have this final output because we composite the miasma. But we can also just do another composite here of like float. I don't know. Do a mask of like, maybe we want to have this only pulsate red, right? So we do the same thing here. Sine time y, maybe times some other multiplicative. And now if we do that, it's going to be super... Now all of a sudden we're like in this horror world where it's like code red and like things are going bad. Or we can even add like the X component or the green component to be oscillating like in an off cycle to that. Or now, no, not cone. Now with costs, it's going to be oscillating off cycle, so now it's going to be pulsating between these two colors. Like the shaders are so cool, man. It's like the funnest thing you can do. Vim, I've heard a lot about it. You're the first person I've seen using. Yeah, I'm using Vim Motions and Rider. Custom shader for all the 3D assets. Yeah, I have my own rendering pipeline, or my own, like, not rendering, I have my own lighting model and lighting pipeline that doesn't use any of Unity's stuff, so. Or doesn't use any of Unity's surface models or anything. So it's very easy for me to hook into this pipeline and affect everything in the world and change things like fog or what have you. And this is like not only on geometry, you can also do this like on screen space stuff. Like I can go into the camera pipeline, I think, shader, and do other weird stuff here. Like we have the CRT effect, we have the fog effect, and we have the transition animator. This is what does the transition. And we can do other weird stuff like that here too as well. And like, we have full control over it. I'm the man with the plan. I can change fog to be something stupid. Like instead of clamping, we can just do another sign. I don't even know what this is gonna happen. I don't even know what this is gonna do. But hey, I can just do it. And now now okay, cool. Now the fog is like is changing in this weird way. Now it's like super psychedelic. I love that my fog ignore thing is still working. So like the door is not going to be affected by any of the values I put there. We can use like, instead of this, we can use depth as like the input. So instead of using time, now it's going to change based off of like distance It's like it's so freaking cool, man. You can do so many cool things with shaders, dude. Oh man. Did someone join the Discord? Yeah, we did. Welcome. Aimer Omoro. Glad to have you here, man. But yeah, dude, shaders are so cool, dude. Never would have imagined if someone would use keyboard that weird. I mean, it works very good, man. The other day you mentioned how you used to get so into game development that you'd sometimes rush your homework the next day at school. I found that really interesting. Would you mind sharing a bit more about how that habit started and how it's stuck with you over time? I mean, it's kind of maybe a byproduct of ADHD where I just can't. I don't want to focus on things that I don't think are interesting or maybe have like that much significance. So like, I knew I can do most of my homework. I got to kind of calculate it. Like, how much can I slack off before I need to like lock in to get things done so I don't fail. But let me get rid of this. Let's start fixing this stuff because I like this bizarro world, but we can't stay in the bizarro world. We have to actually get this working. But yeah, like it wasn't always like it's conscious, but also kind of not. Like I would unconsciously just kind of slack off in homework and say, "Ooh, I forgot it" or something, or or just wait to do it during lunch or in the mornings or whatnot. And sometimes I'd be fine, most times I wasn't, and oftentimes I'd be like failing in a class. But because I passed the AP exam, I would get an A. They would have to change my grade, which I wish I did more to get more advantage of that. I really should have. But oh well. But yeah, here we go. We don't need this coefficient. But yeah, like I just didn't want to do the homework because I thought this stuff was significantly much more interesting and cooler, and I had more fun working with that kind of with my games than I did this. And I remember like there in my freshman year of college, I made a game for this STEM competition. And I showed it to my English teacher for whatever reason. And she was like, "This is impressive. Like someone your age doing something technical like this, like that's really cool. There's this Disney scholarship program." And I was like, "Oh, cool." But she's like, "I can't get you into it though, because your GPA does not meet the requirements." And I was like, "Ah." She's like, "Yeah, I know you're a smart kid. You can do it. But like, you know, unless you get your GPA up, you can't do that." But it's like also like if I get my GPA up, I wouldn't be making that game in the first place now, would I? I wouldn't have like made that thing. I wouldn't have had the time or the energy to do that. So like, you know, or at least I'd have to be way more diligent about how I use my time. And a high schooler me or middle schooler me would not have that faculty of mind to do that. It's something that I just only kind of somewhat recently developed. And even then, it's only because I'm doing things I actually enjoy, which is like this. And then my day job is also, I find it interesting, the work I do. Like sometimes I struggle if it's something not interesting, because I'd rather work on a hard but fun and interesting problem. Like for work, I'd rather be tackling an interesting problem that I think has some kind of impact than something like a problem that would normally take someone 5 minutes to do would be really difficult for me sometimes to do. And like I'd procrastinate on it because it's just not, I can't build up the interest to do it. So yeah, a lot of what I choose to work on is very interest driven. So we have this. We can also apply a secondary texture on top of this to make it feel less samey, which is the beauty of this. I can actually add a secondary texture, and I think I have like vines or something. So I got something like this, for example, and I believe this should just work. We're gonna find out now. Oh. Hey. Deruv Puduval. I'm sorry how I butchered your name. Welcome. Glad to have you here, man. And I'm not gonna blame ADHD for that, because I don't think it's really. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. At the end of the day, it was like a choice that it's a thing that kind of drove me. Ubuntu just joined. What are you making, bro? Just making a game right now. Shared language, which is like HL. Yeah, that's HLSL. Planning to be game dev. Let's go, Rai. It's so sick. This monitor brings the good old days vibe. I'm glad, man. Yeah, we're here for that kind of energy, that kind of vibe. Yeah, I enjoy that kind of thing. A secondary mask. So we're gonna use a mask like this, for example, I think. And voila! All of a sudden, we have this new texture that's applied on top of this one. And now, like, yeah, it repeats, but it's not as obvious because we have this other texture that's mapped on top of it and kind of masking certain things. Is it perfect? No, I definitely need to change some things. And maybe I'm gonna make a specific. I need to fix the camera. There's some weird glitches with the camera where it's like very weird to figure out how to unstuck yourself, because it looks like you got to move back, but no, you're actually still facing forward. It's so weird. It's actually very odd. But yeah. But we need to do something else here, because it's not enough just to do this. We're going to do a top mapping as well. We have to do some grass. This is easier though. The grass is going to be easier, I imagine. I'm just looking at the pixel size to see if it's actually fine or not. I'm debating if it's like small enough or big enough. Or if I even like it. Hey, Manos. Glad to have you here, man. Hope you make yourself comfortable. Yeah, but I think it's gonna be, we can't avoid some of this samey things that pop up. What's your favorite game or game genre? I like platformers a lot. I like driving games too. Puzzle games. Those are like my big three. Platformer, puzzle games, and driving games. There's some shooters too, but there's actually a shooter that is kind of like crack for me, but that I kind of consider more like, you know what, I'm not gonna say junk food, because I enjoyed my time there. Hello. It's good to have you. Yeah, like platformers, Super Meat Boy is like a historical one I have played all my life. Fez, Mighty Gunvolt Burst has been a recent one that I've kind of taken a lot of inspiration from, and has been super duper, just consuming a lot of my time. Driving games, like I really like Ridge Racer for the PSP specifically. That one is just, I think it's like the perfect racing game for me. There's Forza, which is cool. Forza Horizon, I put some good chunk of time in there, and I have a whole driving sim thing. And then there's like an Inertial D, I think, or some knockoff name of Initial D. It's pretty good, but I don't know. It just does not capture that same magic or that same UX that the other games had. I don't know how to describe it. Shooters like Krunker is like a big one that I played a bunch. That one I like a lot specifically just because you have so much control over your movement, and if you put in the time and actually learn how to like control your movement and execute it properly, you can go as fast as you want to, and I love that. Like, you kind of that freedom of expression and the way you control your character. I love that, dude. That's why I like Melee and Smash Brothers, specifically Melee though, but because you have that same kind of freedom of expression and how you move and navigate your character, and you can kind of tell who is playing what character just based, like two people can play the same character and you can kind of tell who that person is specifically based off of their movement. And I love that. And then puzzle games like The Witness has been super big for me. If there's like games that are kind of like junk food, let's say, nothing wrong with it. People enjoy junk food. The Witness is kind of like a fine cuisine that kind of very much shaped my understanding of what the relationship between a designer and the player, and then some of the things that emerge from that, and some of the things that are possible. It's really cool. Really, really cool. And of course, I just like puzzles in general. I mean, I'm a programmer, so I guess part of the deal is enjoying puzzles, right? I'm not sure how, like, I'm not saying you have to be. I'm just saying, like, I don't know how you can. I can't comprehend someone who codes and doesn't enjoy puzzles at some level, because like it feels like most of what you're doing is dealing with puzzles. You know what I'm saying? Like when someone says game engine, like underlying structure wise, what's the difference? Even a game will have like physics and gravity and stuff, right? Yeah, like so like here, okay, there's a distinction to that. There's like some distinctions you can make, and it's kind of also, what's up, Rylan? Glad to have ya, Rylan. Okay, did I spell your name right? Let's actually try. No, I spelled Rylan. So like, I mean, it's a weird thing, right? Because it's kind of these weird places where it's kind of hard to tell where one ends and where one doesn't. Oh my goodness, I'm using this version of NeoVim. Can I just do Vim? Thank you. So like, you have engines, you have frameworks, and then you have like, I don't know, just making a game from scratch. So engines, there's this kind of connotation of it being a tool to make games. So engines oftentimes are kind of like their own application in of themselves, or have their own kind of complexity built into them, right? They're oftentimes not necessarily tied into the game binary itself, but can be in the case of like stuff like Unreal. It's very ambiguous. It has some core. Hey, that's nice. I mean, this is off the top of my head because I don't actually have a formal definition of this. This is kind of how I think about it. They have distinct decisions or explicit decisions about, I can't spell explicit, can I? Here we go. Like with me, like engines, they make a lot of decisions for you about how you're going to interact with things. So it could be about the API interaction with things like you mentioned, like physics. For physics, collision, rendering. So for example, like GameMaker has this specific defined API where you go, hey, if I want to check for collisions, the way you do it is you do is position free and then the X coordinate, and that's how you do it. They just have like a discrete collision system, and then you do that. They have also a physics thing, but that's something that they've prescribed for you. Same thing for rendering and all that kind of stuff. With Unity, you use rigid bodies and then maybe raycast. Like they've made these decisions about how physics is going to work and interact and how you query this stuff. They have specific decisions about game objects and memory structures, and lifetimes. So game engines are going to make decisions about how you deal with this stuff and what the lifetimes look like, what functions you have access to. That would be things like your start, your updates. If you're using GameMaker, they have steps, etc., etc. So they have these kind of concrete decisions for how you're going to do all these different things within this engine. And if you abide by their rules, you can make a game within this kind of confine. On the flip side, if you're making your game from the ground up, or you're making your own game engine, you're saying, hey, I'm going to make the decision about what we're going to do, how we're going to do collisions. So for example, in my game engine, I implemented my own collision system, right? And we're using that. Or you can do something else. You likewise make explicit decisions about game objects, how they're going to be organized in memory, their life cycle. For example, Unity has a entity components, or they have a component system, and that's how you work with objects. With my game engine, you just have the specific explicit entity itself, and it's going to have the things baked into it. There's no dynamic components or anything like that. So with your own engine for your game, because at a certain point you're gonna have to organize this kind of stuff for whatever game you're making. You make these decisions yourself. You also get to have the option of using other things. So for example, like you don't always have to handle your own solutions. You can also use frameworks and libraries. I'm not sure how I'm organizing it. So you can make, for example, for physics, you can always use PhysX. PhysX, I think that's how you spell it. Or for rendering, you can use Raylib for their input or for their rendering, or their own collision or audio, or whatever. You can use like any number of different specific libraries to achieve what you want to do. SDL, Exist, GLFW. Like the list goes on, right? You can hand roll it, or you can choose a number of other libraries and use them, but you kind of have control over how it interacts with your game engine and how it works. That's kind of how it difference in my mind, because making your own engine doesn't mean you have to write everything from the ground up. It's just that means that you're making explicit decisions about all these different things. There's only some of it too. Like we haven't talked about like levels and the level structures and level file formats or anything like that, or how you deal with assets or whatever, right? But that's kind of it's the same kind of thing. Engines, commercial engines or big engines, made these decisions for you. In your own engine, you have control over everything, and you get to make these choices and say, I'm a big boy. I get to wear pants, not diapers. And you know what? I'm going to decide how we're going to deal with objects. Oh, so what's up, Basics? Glad to have you here, man. Thanks for joining the Discord. Yeah, I'll show you the game. What do we have going on here in general? What? I love Watterson, dude. Oh my brother, Basics. Oh my goodness, dude. I mean, I'm sorry that they got you back into the Spy Network, but I need something that doesn't feel like this is kind of on brand. That's kind of on brand with this like Y2K type thing we got going on here. I'll show you the game though. I haven't forgotten you. No, we need to find the correct. This is super Y2K. My condolences. That'd be a crazy thing to say, man. Yeah, so here's what we're working on right now for as far as assets are concerned. This is the game we're working on in Unity, and then I'm not gonna open up Sea Lion, or maybe I should open up Sea Lion. Hey, Wobb's World, glad I have you, man. Welcome to the Discord. But yeah, man. So that's kind of the way I think about it. That's my thought process, and hopefully it kind of clarifies things for you. And then there's also this weird thing of like, well, okay, what is an engine versus just making the game? Because you can also just write a game like from the ground up, not really make an engine, just like make the game itself. That's also a thing, but for most types of games people are making, you end up needing to have tools for like making your levels and managing assets and all that kind of thing, all that kind of stuff. Okay, I think we're just gonna leave that as is. Oh, fellow gamers. One day. No, I'll actually give you an actual. One day I'll post the Discord playtest built-in. What is it? Playtest? I know there's a channel for game testing. Okay, so this is one asset. I'd like to make another one. It's gonna be smaller. It's gonna be more simpler too. It's gonna be like 32 by 32 pixels, I imagine. And we're just gonna make it some basic grass. And then in the ideas channel, I'm just gonna yoink the color of the grass here because I quite enjoy it. I think it's good grass. You can't take for granted good grass. Oh my goodness, so many friends. Branston? What's going on, Branston? We need icons. We need to make some new emotes for the Discord. If you guys have any ideas, let me know. I'm kind of uncreative when it comes to this kind of thing. And yeah, we're just gonna do the uncreative thing and just like yoink colors, I think. Yeah, way different color. And then we're gonna just do the color mode, frame, tile both axes. Nothing special. One second. Also, let me catch up on chat real quick. Are you going to open source the game? I'm kind of thinking about it. I'm not sure. I'm really debating on it because I have my own dev kit I've been building for this game, and I kind of want to just kind of keep it proprietary. At the same time, I'm like, do I though? Like, is what I wrote really that special? I'm kind of having this like Steve Wozniak versus Steve Jobs debacle. But on the one hand, I kind of want to treat my games like a closed end-to-end system so I can make a very specific kind of user experience for people that wouldn't be possible, maybe, or at least maybe, I don't know. Yeah, that's a bad assumption to make, but I think maybe might not be possible otherwise. On the other hand, though, I kind of like the idea of making my game super customizable and like moddable and all that kind of stuff, so people can just do things with it. Because I think that's kind of cool to allow tinkering like this and creativity. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking about it. There's also some part of me that's like, I don't know how I feel about just like giving all this like years of work in my dev kit just out like that. But then there's like, is it really that special? Like, this is stuff. The other things I'm doing are techniques that people have done plenty of times before in different varying contexts. I don't know. I feel conflicted. The best thing I can say is I feel conflicted about this, and I have to do some soul searching about it. I imagine most people can get access to this code one way or another, though. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't know. No idea. Something I have to think about a little bit more. There's also the issue of like, oh, maybe I don't want people like to also resell my games. Like that would suck. Though I'm not sure how much of a possibility that would be, but I don't know. I can do something where I give like the dev kit free or open source the dev kit, but then the actual assets and all the specific code and logic for the game itself are separate. So the core tools are there in case you want to use it for your own games, but all the actual commercially things used commercially for this game are still tied up separately. I don't know. I'm thinking about it, man. And this is kind of an important decision because it's going to change how I do the file system structure as well. Which I don't even want to think about that. Okay, what do we got going on here? Ghostly Owlburb? That's a great name, dude. That's a great name. What's up, Ghostly Owl? Big owl energy, dude. Big owl energy. Owls are cool, dude. Owls are cool. I wrote this. Can you use it in your game if you want? What is this for? Tween object? Okay, we're gonna have to actually expand this. No, not change language. Can we expand? Oh, here we go. It's having a little boomer moment. Oh my goodness, the indentation. Okay, let's see what's going on in this. So you have a tween object, you have a tween speed is local is true, transform target, transform the target, the transform you're targeting. And then, what is it? What do you mean by tween? It's like lerping between. Yeah, it's like a lerp between the vector 3 and the quaternion. I mean, that's cool. I think I have something kind of similar to this. I have a general look at thing. Tween delta, and then that's the percentage you use to tween between it. Interesting. Yeah, I have something like this, but it uses a function of time to increment the look too. Pretty cool though. Pretty cool, handy script. There we go. Yeah, owl. Yeah, I have an ideas channel, so any ideas for emotes, let me feel free to post there as well. That bird scared me. That bird scared me, man. Is it really a tube monitor? More than a flat screen? Probably, I don't know. In the final stage to finish it? Nah, I'm still in pre-production right now. We're still in pre-production with this game. Yeah, this game is, I posted a demo or not even a demo, a prototype of the game on Newgrounds just to get some feedback, and now we're just been, like, I've been rewriting a bunch of core tools for making levels. Not levels themselves, just the tools of making that are needed for the levels. So, yeah. We're going to be doing deving on the game soon. That's the desire, the hope. Or actually, I'm already starting to move more towards, like, content now with this first level. Like, we're making grass and stuff. Like, we're making assets, so we are making content. But now it's just a matter of, like, it's kind of a matter of just cranking through this and probably implementing a few core things. There's still some core things that need to be done before I can feel confident just, like, doing more games content. No, not this. Here we go. Pixel sprite offset. Sprite asset preset. Perfect. I'm also kind of debating if I want to do the N64 color blending, but I think we're trying to go for a more PS1 kind of look-ish. Not specifically just PS1, because we're trying to make it feel like a fictional console, but we're taking some inspiration from some other things that exist before. Maybe even 8. Yeah, it looks like 8, dude. How old are you? How old do you think I am? Show that to Never Nester. Oh, you break their heart, dude. Their hearts and minds. They'll go crazy. I'm not a never nester, but I try to avoid it. I do like a lot of early if returns. Stuff like that. Hey, this looks like grass. This actually looks like grass. That's crazy, guys. Guys, we have like a little courtyard thing looking already. Isn't that crazy? No, it's like 104. Do you have a LinkedIn? Probably. I kind of want to get rid of it though, if I'm gonna be honest with you. I only really need LinkedIn if I'm hunting for a job. LinkedIn's a hellscape, dude. LinkedIn's an absolute hellscape. One does not go there to be happy, I don't think. Oh yeah, dude. This is starting to look like a level little by little. I mean, there's still some weird stuff, but we're getting there. I think I'm gonna make another texture that uses the same. I have some ideas for how to make this look even better. Let's look at the Discord real quick and go back to the ideas, the pictures I have for reference. Yeah, so I want to have some more variations of the walls that have more of this like white area on it. I think that's needed. Yeah, I think we just need to do that. Let me also just commit some of the stuff here because we have assets. Are we already there? Nope. There we go. I need to update all my aliases to work with this new... In fact, I should just update it. Whatever. What? Oh my goodness, it's not connected to the... Oh, because it's a new drive, so it's... Oh, you're tearing me apart, Lisa. You're tearing me apart. Detected dubious ownership in repository. Dubious, that's one way of saying it. I'll have to deal with this off stream. I don't want to deal with this now. That can speed up the process of production. I don't like using AI. I think keep in mind, like, I'm making this... All my game dev stuff is for fun and for the enjoyment. Like, it's not even for the goal of making the game. It's for the enjoyment of the process and just kind of learning and growing. And I feel, personally, that AI removes the fun of actual coding and removes the depth of knowledge you get. So, yeah. So, for at least from my personal game dev work, I'm not using AI for this kind of thing. No, I'm using Unity. What's up, Paper Mastery? Nice setup, buddy. Thank you, man. Are you neurodivergent? I feel like someone would probably say I'm neurodivergent, but I don't think so. Nice. Let's make a new grass, or not grass. We're gonna make a new wall thing. We're gonna take the same one. We're gonna do some modifications though, because we're gonna make this mostly just the white tiles, like we saw here, and make it even more paler. Yeah, in fact, I feel like I should have made this more pale, but There's a lot of color variation with these textures, so I think it's fine. What happened here? Why am I missing the headers for these assets? It's in Control F. There we go. So this is a new one we're making. I'm gonna do some weird manipulation just to make it feel a little more different. And I'm gonna make this more pale. And we're just gonna be like messing around with this a little bit, have some fun. Be a little messy. It's okay to be a little messy sometimes. And this one we want it to be visually much more consistently, have more presence of the white on it, and we're gonna make this be tiled mode, both axes. What's up, Mohammed? Have you worked on ray tracing? Not personally. It would be cool to try that one day, but most of my art is very non-photorealistic. And honestly, a lot of what I've been doing is trying to make like decent lighting, but in a more performance kind of way. Tried using Quick Protocol. I'm eager to try it for a multiplayer game I'm planning to make, and I don't know how much about C# or support about Quick. Yeah, I've heard about Quick. It seems really cool, but I haven't had really a chance to do much networking stuff. I've been thinking about doing some networking stuff for this game, so maybe it might be cool to play around with it, since it seems to be the wave, the future, the mode, the way things should be done from now on. And it's kind of cool how quick is caught on. Gosh, I hate it. I'd punch someone for that. I wouldn't actually, but gosh, man, puns. I can't believe I did one. Can't believe I did it. Who am I? I don't recognize me anymore. Yeah, Quick sounds cool. I should probably look into C# support of it. And we're trying to make this feel less like blobs and feel more intentional. More just might even do some color replacements here, if I'll be real with you. Just the brighter colors, so there's not much, it doesn't feel like a noisy mess, and it much more feels more normative. Is HD part of the neurodivergency? Oh, I guess that does count, doesn't it? What kind of game you're making? I'm making a 3D platformer game where you clean the world. It's 2.5D pixel art, as you've probably seen already. And the big thing is that like Mighty Gunvolt Burst, I mean, it's kind of like a Dust Force. Like, I like games where the replayability comes not necessarily from just trying to grind content, but rather from trying to get better and develop a skill or knowledge of a game. So with Mighty Gunvolt Burst, there's this system where there's like rankings for how well you do it on level, like simple S rank, B rank, A rank, that kind of thing. And the game has like power-ups, but power-ups, the more you have power-ups and the more juiced your character is, the more of a penalty you get to that score. So you can like unlock power-ups and be busted and have fun with that. But there's also this other way of playing the game where you just kind of add handicaps to yourself, where not only is there power-ups, there's also handicaps you can apply. And you can do that if you want to boost your score up and reduce the decrement. And there's some cool interplay that happens with that. So this game is, I'm experimenting with doing that kind of thing. Or there's kind of two ways of playing the game. You can play levels to try to beat them and speedrun them and get a really high score, or you can play them to explore, unlock items, and then have that at your disposal if you want to do that kind of trade-off for point score versus being busted and, you know, just doing something goofy. And there's no wrong way to play the game. It's cool when a game affords that ability to you. And my little perfectionist brain, that just like, it's like crack, man. It's like super, I like that. That's why I still play Super Meat Boy all these years later. Because like it's, at the end of the day, I'm just, I'm trying to get better at me. I'm trying to improve myself in some way. The gameplay, like it's not the power-up that makes me strong. It's me that got better at the game. Golang? No, I haven't tried Golang actually. It looks like a cool language though. Looks like a really cool language. Using the CPU the most from last time. Well, processing. So where am I? So I found the issue. The issue was not a process using the CPU. I mean, the CPU overheated, but I think that was from PyCom and all this other stuff. The thing that was keeping Unity lock wasn't a process. There's no process. Instead, it was a file on Unity called a Unity lock file that dictates, hey, if you can use this Unity project or not. Normally, it's easy and fine for Unity Hub to close that or delete that, or for you to manually delete it. But here's the kicker. Because my computer hard shut off because of thermal throttling, or because it got really hot, it marked my SSD, my NTFS SSD drive, as dirty. And when it's marked like that, you can't write or change files on there, which means you can't delete the Unity lock file. So it's like this cascade of errors, of issues, where because my computer overheated and shut off prematurely, now the drive was like, you had to mount it manually and you couldn't write any data or change data on it, which means you couldn't delete the lock. So to fix that, I had to like get NTF G3, run NTF repair or fix, so that I can go into the file on the SSD, delete it, so that now I can run Unity. So that was the whole cascade of errors that happened from that one shut off that I just had to spend like 10 minutes or 15 minutes looking through to fix. But hey, at least we have Unity working and I can do stuff here now, which is pretty cool. But yeah, that was a whole thing. Also, I realize if I close, okay, cool, we still have this. Let me throw this texture here. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, it looks terrible. Let's try fixing that. We use a tile world space of 5. Let's use 5 here as well. Yeah. Let's make this more look like a more flat wall instead of like this bulbous thing. Yeah, I'm making a game right now. Go is going to change your life. Try making your game server with it if you ever get into networking. Really? I know Go has like this whole, specifically like it has this whole, like it has Go routines and its own thing for asynchronous stuff, which seems interesting. And if I decide not to use Unity for, or C# for network server stuff, then I definitely will give it a try. It sounds cool and interesting. Yeah, I need to do more concurrency, async stuff. I feel like my knowledge on that is just lacking. Just slacking. or lacking. Slacking by lacking. That sounds cool. I'll give it a try though. I did try Odin that one stream, so maybe I should do a stream where I try some other languages like Go and try making something in it. What was it? Was it Ken Thompson who worked on Go? That's a kind of important guy. He's a defined, he's one of the creators of Unix. And how long it took to fix it, because that usually is what makes great devs. Yeah, like I said, it took 10 minutes, 15 minutes today to deal with that. I'm not sure if it makes me a great dev, it makes me a great Googler, I can tell you that much. But yeah, I was like, I had to come at it with a fresh mind to be like, all right, what's going on here? What's actually happening? What did you post, Master? What did you just what is this, dude? What did I just see? All right, we're just going to move on. We're going to move on. This is my dream to make a game. But it was literally a dream life for me, really. Brethren, just start, man. You can do it. You can make it happen. You're just one Google search away, dude. I'm telling you, man, you're just one Google search away. I need that straw. What straw? Oh, you talked about that guy in the Discord video. Yeah. I was like, what straw? Do I have a straw on my desk? Oh, wait. Discord. I didn't even register that was a straw until you said that right now. It is heavy. Yeah, it's kind of heavy. Yeah, remember to drink your milk, guys. Milk up, boys. We're grown boys in chat. We gotta get our milk. Down the hatch, boys. It's time to get your calcium. Okay, that sounds weird. The more I'd say it, the more I describe it, like I'm like, I feel uncomfortable. I need an adult. Yeah, I'm trying to make this feel less rounded and more squared off. Like more like just long panes or panels of like this plaster material. It's like the front face of this. Yeah, I'm trying to make this look more just like a solid wall. Honestly, maybe I should just make these textures even bigger. Like, I feel like some of this weird stuff might look better if it was just a bigger texture. Yeah, I need to drink my milk at 6 a.m. Building it pixel by pixel. Yes, sir. Please advise how to start. Pick a game engine. Actually, better yet, choose an idea of a game you want to make. Don't make it too crazy. Like, if I were you, I'd start with a 2D game. Just have an idea for a game you'd want to make. And then try making it. And then, in doing that, you're going to have to, search things to get to try start getting towards that goal. So like if your goal is to make like a, I don't know, maybe a Pac-Man clone or something, or your own Mega Man game, then you're like, all right, how do you make a game? And you're gonna discover that you have to choose an engine, and then after you choose that engine, you're gonna be doing, hey, how do you make an object move? Like, how does that work? And all of a sudden you're gonna have to learn how to handle player input and how to script and start learning how to hook into the engine's life cycle and all that stuff. Like, but it's gonna be an incremental process. And I think if you have a game idea in mind that you want to make, it's gonna help you avoid like tutorial hell, being stuck just consuming tutorials and not doing something you want to do. And And then also don't be scared to abandon a project. Just follow what interests you. If the game you're making doesn't seem interesting and you have another idea for a game you want to work on, just do that, dude. Don't be married to the project. There's a whole thing that happens where, like, as you work on a project, you start being limited by the project, by your knowledge when you started the project. So it's often better just to, like, follow your interest, explore what's new and interesting to you, and I think you're gonna have a better experience. And then if you really want to, like, get in there, then do a game jam. There's a game jam that happens every year called Global Game Jam. They have locations all over the world, literally physical locations where you can go meet people and learn. You don't have to know anything about making games. You could just show up, say, hey, I know nothing, and you're going to be thrown into a project, and you just have to Google for your life and try to figure it out. And that's like a great indicator of whether or not you like the process of making games or if you like the idea of making games. I have thrown people I know into game jams who are like, hey, they started switching to studying game design and all that. But once they actually did a game jam and started seeing what's involved in making a game, they went, hey, you know what? This is not for me. This is not what I imagined. It's not fun for me. And, you know, they switched majors. But that's like a really great way to just get exposed and learn really quick if this is what you want to do. So that's my advice for you. That's, if I were to approach it again, that's exactly, I mean, that's kind of how I did it the first time around. I went to game jams when I was very young, like 14. Met with a bunch of people in my community who are game devs, and I liked it a lot and kept doing games and learning and growing, and all my learning happened with me trying to make a game that I thought was totally possible, and then it falls apart for whatever reason, and then we move on to the next thing and start learning something different and new, and I'm still interested in the game. As long as you find it interesting, I think that's going to be that's what's going to keep you in the game of making games long term. Might sound like some fortune cookie nonsense, but I think that's like legitimately true, and that's been my personal experience with it. And it seems to be like everyone I know who does this, that's been theirs as well. A Sprite. I don't hold my phone over my face. Okay, just dropped my phone on my face. I'm sorry, Blur. Okay, there's no hope for me. Why are you saying that, Sam? Why are you saying there's no hope for you, Sam? And hope for what? Well, what are we talking about? I don't want to hear that negative talk. Milk, orange juice, Oreos, honey. What are you talking? Keycaps. Okay, copper CPU pins, light bulb, best food combo. Let's go, man. Yeah, I do have these like little. Well, I have like a cinnamon pie and then another pie. Keycap. Hope is a good thing, perhaps the best things. Wiggly, wiggly, jiggly. Okay, what is this chat, dude? That hurts. Did you tell us about your GPU? My audio keeps glitching. I'm sorry, Druv. Yeah, I have a 2060. I have a 2060 GPU. Here, I'll show you. Here's the proof. There we go. Good old-fashioned 5060. There we are. There we are. Yeah, I feel really unsafe right now having none of this progress committed onto a repository. I don't like that. So I need to fix this off stream or something. because I do not want to lose his progress at all. I can't believe switching drives did this to me. Yeah, I don't like, we're trying to get rid of all these round shapes here. So everything like this, no. None of this business. None of this business. I'm trying to get rid of some of the dark colors as well, so it can be more consistently, like, less visually noisy. Honestly, I feel like I made this texture too big almost. Dude, my CRT is even struggling right now. When I use my CRT for a long time, it starts like wiggling around a little bit. Like it's telling me it's tired. It's like, boss, let me go, boss. I'm tired, man. What's a crocodilo bombardino? Doing it with noodles? Yeah, it's taking a step more towards this. I just want to make this more, I'm just gonna get rid of these colors. Because I think it's just too noisy. Like, I think even just doing that would reduce some of this noise a little bit, and then maybe have more blocked out shapes. And we can just focus more on texture as opposed to like color groups. Coding C#, yeah, C#, HLSL, the works. I'm on Earth right now. Welcome. Good to have you on Earth, man. I was watching this thing about Zimbabwe where there's like this incident where there's a bunch, like 60 elementary school kids who witnessed aliens and then like forever shaped their lives in some way. I didn't finish it because I was trying to go to sleep and now it's kind of weirding me out. I was like, I can't really go to sleep like this. This is kind of freaking me out a little bit. I mean, not really, but I don't know. When you're going to sleep, you're way more suggestible. So I'm like, all right, let's not do this right now. And then the next video was like a creepypasta reading. I was like, nope, we're not doing that. We're just gonna go to sleep. Let's just do that. How about we just turn off the audio and just go to sleep? That sounds like a great recipe for me. And we can do like more texture stuff here. More like little accents here and there. Yeah, I like this red accent for their dark colors, so it's not even that dark. Yeah, that looks better. I think that looks better. And then I can just yoink this, duplicate it, and move it here, and then just resize it, and it's just gonna work good. It's just gonna fit. I should really get a level designer or like a level, some 3D model or something. Because I don't like the fact that, yeah, I'm using symbol topology to do this, but it's also a very inefficient topology. Because, you know, I'm using primitives instead of modeling stuff, so there's like a lot of overdraw that's probably happening here that could have been avoided with just better assets, but oh well. Let me play around with this resolution business. Let me try making this even bigger. I almost kind of like it, this res. If I'm gonna be honest with you, I kind of like it at this resolution. If I press play right now. Pale skin color. My drawing completely pale skin color, kind of. The texture. My first game, that's a tricky question. I still have it somewhere on my computer. I moved it from my flash drive. My first interactable thing I made was like making a launch octopus move in 4 directions in GameMaker, and then after that I made a thing called Atomic something, and you control this cube or this ball that moved around. That looks better actually. I think having it be scaled up is just the right move. Instead of having it be super, because most of the time you're not going to be up close with these objects. You're going to be like super far away. And I kind of prefer how it looks far away. Maybe you can do like an LOD thing to make it look better, but to use like, but I'm not going to do that. We're not doing LOD textures. We're just not going to do that. Yeah, let's try using Proton and play those games on stream one day. That'd be kind of cool, actually. My first games. I think I also still have my first C++ program too, which is like I think my first real program I made was like a thing to do my homework. Because I was like, calculating Pythagoras theorems was like really redundant and repetitive. I was like, I don't want to do that. So I just made a calculator in C++ to do that for me, and I did that for my homework, and I was like, all right, bet. Homework done. Yeah, I like this better. I don't like that it doesn't match the pixels quite as well, but yeah. I think it looks fine. I could always upscale this and add more detail so the pixels don't look so choppy, but most of the time you're not going to be looking at them and you're not going to be up close like that, so I think this is actually perfectly fine. Yeah, I think this actually looks good. I would commit this, but I need to deal with this whole dubious owner crap I'm being hit with. And here's like a water I want to play around with the mechanics of this level and think about how we're gonna have like this water thing go on. A YouTube channel? No, I just draw here. I'm not a very good cook, but my sister said my eggs taste like my like your what, scrambled eggs or something? I actually eat mostly scrambled eggs. Honestly, like every day I have some. I can't not have some. It's the main thing I eat, dude. Hey, are you rare breed? Thank you, I guess. Yeah, this is Unity. I think my camera's starting to overheat too. Yeah, this is actually starting to come together, dude. Let's go. Alright, I think next one will be more a technical focus, because I think I want to fix this cast shadow business and use the depth map from the camera to do this and just cache it. But this is already pretty good progress, dude. I'm actually very happy with what we got going on here. This is pretty sick. Just pour water on it. Your setup cost is pretty cheap, honestly. Like $20 adapter, $40 or $50 TV. It's not crazy. I won't eat scrambled eggs unless it's drowned in cheese. Oh my goodness. We're the opposite, man. I eat my eggs no cheese, Honestly, I just eat it without pepper or salt. I just eat it as is. I'm like, oh, that's good enough for me. Yeah, we're gonna do some water effects though. We're not gonna do the water shader today. We're gonna do it probably next stream. This is starting to look like a level though. We're starting to have just 2 assets or 3 assets, and look at that. We're starting to have some vibes going on here. I still need to white box more, but I think I like white boxing more when I can see how the level is gonna look like. We'll deal with the Z fighting later. Though Z fighting is not even an issue with the triplanar thing. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not gonna end the stream quite. I'm gonna end the stream soon, but I'm gonna stay on chat a little bit longer just to answer any questions before hopping off. Remember, if your fleas be scooping, just flick some vinegar. Ostrich eggs. Do you play games on stream too? Yeah, usually on Saturdays I play games. So last Saturday I was playing on my PS3, and then I was playing some FTL on the PC with Steam. But yeah, we do some gaming in here. We do some gaming. Sudo RM RF. Jeez, don't tempt me. I always get so scared when I have to type that command. Is Unity not overkill for this game? No, it's not at all. Unity is actually pretty lightweight in comparison to other engines like Unreal. I mean, I guess maybe later versions of Unity are getting more chunky, but... And it definitely has overhead that I don't want, but... For this kind of thing, I think it works pretty good. For my own game engine, I don't think I can make this type of game in my own game engine yet. I don't know, maybe I have to like think more. This requires more thought. 3D is a lot more thought-provoking compared to like 2D. Because even the means of selecting objects is different. There's different considerations for how you navigate editors and all that. Lord of the Rings, I love Lord of the Rings, dude. I actually have like the Blu-ray box set, and I watch the extended editions periodically, like once or twice a year. I'm actually in the middle of rewatch right now. I'm in the middle of I'm in the second disc for the Two Towers. Love Lord of the Rings. For a living, yeah, I do program for a living. What are the specifications for your computer? I have like a 12-core CPU. And then 5060 in this bad boy. I should probably get B-top though. That'd be kind of cool to get more information. Can I just do? No, I got to type in my password on stream. But yeah, H-top. The 24 threads, 12 cores, AMD, and then MV-top. The GPU. Is SFL a good library to start learning 2D? I don't know. Oh, SDL? Yeah, I think SDL is good. Yeah, most people I know who use C++ enjoy and think SDL is good, so. I haven't used it personally because I just wanted to have a lot more control over everything, every little minutia of my game engine. So I'm just using GLFW, which even then is still something, but I'm just using GLFW for the basics and then doing other stuff. How do you grow your audience? I have no idea, dude. I have no idea. It just happened one day. Like, I don't know how this happened at all. I think I just turned on like one setting of like not made for kids or something, which like usually should be off anyways. So I'm not sure if that's the case, but yeah, I did that one day, and then all of a sudden I got like a couple thousand views. I was like, that's crazy. That's insane. Do you read One Piece? I used to read One Piece, but I haven't been up to date with it recently. I know I caught up with Egghead, and then what's happening in Elbaf, I don't know. I use C#. I have like I have a command. How do I do the CPU core duplication glitch? What's that glitch? What's this glitch you speak of? How long have you been developing? I've been developing for like 12, 15, like with this game, probably like 1 year. As far as... Did someone join? Hey, Isaac the Wizard, good to have you. We have the Wizard here? We have the Wizard? Yeah, buddy. We have the wizard here. What nonsense are we seeing here? I love Watterson. I don't know, it just makes me happy to see any of the Wattersons here. Or you get the sick retro monitor, just like at Facebook or there's a vintage computer festival. I forgot what command it was. Oh, it just took a while, that's why. Do you review code? I used to do that. I used to I remember in the Discord, there's this guy who posted during one of the streams. He was having a crazy performance issue with his game, and he posted this stuff here, and we made it like he gave me this. I downloaded his repository, and then like the architectural like rework for it made it go from taking 3 minutes to run a single for it to run to instead just taking like, you know, a tenth of a second, like nothing, like a normal frame, nothing crazy. That was a crazy optimization. That was a order of magnitude thing. I'm not sure if I review code or if I'm going to do it. I guess it really depends. I know I'm available on Discord though, so I always feel free to reach out there. Coding environment is this? NeoVim, Tmux. I like Helix. I plan to make 80s, 90s looking coding environment. Oh, Tmux is cool. I'm just using i3. i3, and then I have Vim motions for here, but I like using Vim as well, or NeoVim, though I'm in the middle of configuring it to work with Roslyn and the Roslyn LSP and making it work with with fuzzy finders and whatnot. But it's kind of in a state of broken because I haven't integrated the new version of NeoVim correctly into my environment. We're gonna do that eventually. And then of course, like, I'm not using PyCom right now for compositing, but that's what I use. And then I guess nitrogen for the background. I guess that's like the gist. That's like basically everything there is. And then, yeah. Yeah, my keyboard. Thank you, Blur. I didn't realize. Oh my goodness, dude. When did that happen? When did it get cut in half? I need to go take it to the keyboard doctor to get it fixed. Oh man. Sounds good. Thank you, Tyler. I'm glad you dig the mic. It's taken a lot of time to kind of get this to where I want it to be. Do you have to know low-level architecture to make engines? Yeah, you do. You 100% do. You for sure are gonna have to know some basic stuff of like memory allocation, because like we had this little talk earlier about like the difference between like commercial game engines versus making your own game engine or making your own game, and there's like problem spaces that you have to now directly make decisions about when you make your own engine, which is like lifetime of objects and allocation and that sort of thing, memory layout. So you definitely need to know some low-level things. You should definitely need to know what malloc is at the very least, and understand why unique pointers exist and or reference counting exists and all this other stuff. And then if you want to, like, depending on what kind of game you're making, if it's going to be a more performance-intensive game, then you're going to have to make different decisions versus a game that's much more simple. A game that's very simple, you can get away with just having like a collection interface called game object, and then it has start and update, and then maybe some basic, common properties, and then have whatever game objects you're making implement that. That's not cache coherent. Whereas if you're doing something that's much more intensive, then you need to worry about cache coherency, and you want to have things laid out alongside each other in memory, and there's considerations about that. And then maybe how you even do operations, you might have to even go even lower depending on what you're doing. If you're not using like a math library, then you definitely want to look at stuff like intrinsics. It's a whole thing. Just download more RAM, dude. Easy, man. It's easy, dude. If it's a mechanical keyboard, don't you need to take it to the mechanic? You're right. You're right. I need it. The keyboard doctor is the mechanic. But yeah, I think you're gonna have to learn some low-level stuff. But I think it's good. I think it's good to learn the low-level stuff. It's gonna make you a better programmer. It's gonna have you be more well-rounded, and it's gonna make you understand the choices game engines make and what the costs are, and understand the reasoning behind it. Is that taught with the main paths? I'm not sure about what main paths are. If you're talking about like school or stuff, just Google, just learn. Just you're like pick up C, and then learn about what a struct is, and then learn about the two ways to allocate a struct. Either through stack allocation or memory allocation. Just from those two things, you're gonna start learning about this stuff. You're gonna learn about malloc. Doesn't mean you have to use malloc, but you're gonna just have to learn about that and deal with that. I think it's pretty important to know about that kind of thing. But yeah, I think it's a good starting point. C, basic C, not C++, C. Learn how to make a data structure. What's the hardest part about developing a game? Staying within a scope, or designing. For me, it's like designing a scope of a game and then sticking to it and just executing it, because it's so easy for me to like meander and change scope, and it's so easy for me to like change what the game is going to be instead of keeping it simple. So I think that's a big thing for me. Design. It's weird because you think it's the opposite. You think it's like programming or art or music, but it's like, no, like I spent all my life getting it sounds conceited, but I think it's fair for me to say that I'm pretty good at this stuff. I've taken all my life to get good at art and get good at music and get good at programming. The three things are kind of the basic fundamentals of that compose a game. And now that I'm like decent at these things, I realize that, I'm really weak at game design and just design in general. Because usually you're so worried with these low level things that you don't actually think about the high level thing. That's how it is for me, at least. So I'm realizing that's where I struggle, and that's kind of where I'm doing a lot of my wrestling. It's kind of a weird full circle thing, because everyone starts with that as an idea guy, and then you start doing into this stuff, and then now you're kind of going back, and it's a whole thing. Malloc is what he's talking about if you're looking for the spelling. Oh yeah, good call, Jornak. I made a fake link for more RAM as a joke, but it didn't send. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, I guess Nightbot is filtering that. Thank you, Nightbot. I guess you just put it in Discord then. Just put it in the Discord. the link for more RAM. I used to go do that at my computer lab at school. It was hilarious, man. Thanks for the insight. Yeah, scope of a project can be it's very difficult. It's very like estimating any programming task is difficult because you're wrestling with known unknowns and unknown unknowns, and you're just trying to estimate that, and that's just such a hard task in general. Like that's just almost impossible. In fact, it is impossible, and people try to deal with it by adding padding, which there's negatives to that, and it's just a struggle, man. And trying to estimate any kind of programming task in any finite way, at least like any non-trivial programming task. Trivial tasks, like you can estimate them because you've probably done them before, so you know what it takes to do it. And if it's trivial, then it's like, okay, why are we doing it in the first place? Usually people are doing this stuff because they want to work on non-trivial things. And non-trivial things means that you're going to be going past your boundaries of knowledge usually. I like C++, but I'm not as big of a fan of the web dev. Yeah, I feel that. I don't like web dev. I respect people who are willing to do that and deal with that. It's not my thing. In any real capacity since Visual Basic 6 in high school. Yikes, that dates me. That's alright, man. I feel kind of old when I say I used GameMaker 8 or 7. And even then, that's not that bad. Get that old. Just subbed. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Lead Dispenser. My PC setup. I wish I had my PC set up. I'm feeling motivated. Let's go, Master Crafter. We'll start with pen and paper, man. So much of programming or developing happens on pen and paper. I mean, not for everyone, but for me, like designing your game, you have to make decisions on paper, concept some stuff out. Architecture, I like start doing some basic UML, like rough UML documentation there sometimes, just to get a feel of the problem space and what's going to be needed and how things are going to interact. A lot of my game engine was like architected that way. H-top? Sure. So cozy. Thank you, Type Man. That's a goal here. My goal, if there's a compliment you want to give me, guys, the highest compliment for me is that you feel cozy watching this. Like, I hope this setup and this environment feels cozy for you guys. That's the goal we're aiming for. That's what I want to have happen. And if we achieve it, that's big dopamine. That's big happy for me. Are you better at coding or Unity's interface? I think I'm better at coding than I try to avoid. I do more coding to avoid using Unity interfaces. Like, you can afford good. I have good monitors. It's not even that I can afford. I have good monitors. I just like this. Do you use Arch, by the way? I use Catchy OS on my other machine. That's Arch based, so I guess technically I do use Arch. Into an AI. Just kidding. Don't activate me, Jarnak. You're activate my trap card. You're gonna make me. I have a really good story and art planned, but I'm a new programmer. It's alright, Sam. Just start working your way through it. Even if it feels unattainable, still pursue it. I think that's actually really beneficial. If you have an idea that feels unattainable, just try working for it. Because even if you don't make it, you're still going to get somewhere towards it. And that's going to be beneficial for you. And then the next project, you want to scope it down so it's closer to where you're at, go for it. But I think it's worth trying to shoot for the thing that seems unattainable. And I think that allows you to grow more. What are you coding? I was working on this game. We were doing a lot of asset stuff today. And then I was doing some physics revision logic on the game engine project. But that was early on and we didn't do too much of that because I was just I just wanted to start getting some assets ready for this white boxing. Me need to do Unity for learning, but is that a good idea for someone starting? Yeah, definitely. I think it is definitely good. I actually kind of prefer that over Unreal for learning. Because Unity, it's like, how do I say this? I mean, first of all, any engine, any time you're spending working with a game engine is going to help you out, right? The thing I like more about Unity is that with Unreal, you're entering this ecosystem and this predefined structure that exists for you. And you have to operate in the way they want you to operate. So that's one thing. So it's less so that you're learning programming and more so that you're learning a specific tool. It's like the same issue with web dev where people learn a framework but not the code or the logic. You get what I'm saying? Whereas Unity, there's still like unit engine specific things you're gonna have to learn, but the coding aspect is very much kind of simplified. There's just model behavior and that's it. And then you build your structure or architecture around that. So I think I think any engine is good to start out with, but I think Unity is a particularly good one. You can also do Godot if you feel inclined. It also supports C#. I will say this: if you're going to do coding, use a statically typed language. I'm telling you, a dynamically typed language seems easy in the very beginning, but there's a very big trade-off you're making. Just choose a statically typed language like C#, Java, C or C++. That's more like engine writing. Usually scripting, it's like C# is an option for statically typed languages. Add CRT, yep. It's a real bona fide CRT with a green mode. Well, I missed your answer on C#. Unity because the internet slowed down. What was your question for C# on Unity? Create a movement shooter, FPS, a la Tribes. Do it, Jornik. That sounds sick, though. I never heard of Tribes, but I like FPS games with really cool movement. If you could post it somewhere, I like Probably the Discord or something. Or maybe I could just Google to make sure I find the right game. But yeah, I've been hankering for that. So there's like small projects I'd like to do game wise. Sick. Yeah, do them, man. What do you think about vibe coding AI? I don't like that at all. And I think for people who are learning, it's especially bad and detrimental. That's my belief, at least. I think there's a lot of AI is too expedient and is too quick to give you answers, and there's a lot of peripheral knowledge you're going to be missing out by not doing it the old way and just wrestling through problems yourself. Like frictionless boots and jetpacks. Ooh, that sounds sick, actually. Using Rust, I did. In fact, I have a game I made in Rust. I have my first game engine I wrote in Rust. Let me pull it up for you. And I've grown to not like Rust for various reasons. I think but at the same time, I still like see why people use it and why it's like has its appeal and everything. But some of the fundamental things about Rust just does not click with me anymore. Let's see. So this is a game engine I wrote in Rust, or engine, quote unquote. Just a basic game, and it has like dynamic shaders, like the rim lighting, and this is all dynamic. I had a better showcase of this on like X or Blue Sky or something. But yeah, like this is a little project I did in Rust, and we were gonna do like the whole combo system, but I decided to just rewrite the stuff or switch to Unity. But yeah, you said before that you hate Godot, Node, and since tree structure, but isn't Unity game objects and prefabs kind of similar? They're similar, except for the fact that for every component, you're not adding an extra depth to your tree. So you can have like a ton of stuff within the Unity game object, and it's easier to work with at least for me, I find it easier to work with in that kind of way and manage. Whereas like for every single object that needs to have logic to it, you're making this whole new node structure which has its own transform, and it's just like all this extra stuff that isn't really needed and could be simplified just like through a component system if they wanted to keep stay that way. Or it kind of incentivizes you to make like pure C# scripts, I guess, and then have them have hooks into Godot lifecycle stuff to avoid that, which is a more programmatic way, which honestly, I kind of do that already, but I don't know. I just don't like that you have to do that. I don't like being forced to do something. I like having the option to do it. I don't like being forced to do that. Back in 2016, hype will die off. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's wedging itself into everything, and I feel like everyone's starting to have a bad taste with it. Not like on the basis of the language and its beliefs, but just with the conduct of like the community around it, which, like this whole core utils thing is dumb and whatnot. Is it like a 2D game in plain C++ in your opinion? I think it's pretty easy. I think if you want to make a simple 2D like game in C++, you can do it pretty easily. And especially there's like a lot of libraries and tools if you want to use it. If you want to keep it lean and just use like GLFW, like you can do that pretty easily. Especially if you're not going to do any crazy fancy physics. Start with C#. I have 3 years of experience. I'm interested in low level and learned Zig. I never did C though, and C++. And Bjorn's books are on my bucket list. Yeah, I think there's something here. I think there's a bunch of languages that are trying to kill C++ or solve the issues of C and C++, like Rust, Zig, Odin, Jai, etc., right? And you can use these languages, but unless you use C or C++, you're not going to appreciate what things you're trying to solve and assess whether or not they actually solved them or not. So I think there's value in doing some C or C++, writing it out, do something non-trivial in it to get a feel for what kind of problems emerge from using these languages. And I think that gives you a better assessment of like it gives you better insight into assessing whether or not these languages actually do what they proclaim to do. Which is why I'm kind of in my journey of like this engine writing thing. And we'll see what happens. Maybe I go to Zig, because Zig looks promising, but I think after Rust, I wanted to just go back to that and get some perspective before moving on to one of those. And maybe I just wait until Jai's compiler comes out. You can make packed scenes, which is like prefabs. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Are you talking about like with Godot? Drop some DNA Oyam. I don't know what you just maybe said earlier, but why do you have two monitors displaying the same thing? Maybe I missed. Oh yeah, I just do it for fun. I mean, the input's being routed from that to here, and then sometimes I look at that because it looks a little bit different, so I get some different insight and it just looks different. Sometimes I like to get just a different opinion visually. Is an instrument? I have no idea what that is, Jornak. Me watching this guy coding a game instead of getting to finish mine. Minchio, do it, man. Get to work, man. Time to pack it up and get some work done, dude. How do you debug your games? Like, what kind of tools do you use? It's really to run in memory issues in C++, such as memory leaks. Yeah, I use C-Line, which has a bunch of stuff, and then I think they use like Val. You can use Valgrind, I think, for memory check stuff. Yeah, Valgrind for like debugging that kind of class of bugs, and then C-Line has a bunch of things built into it too. C-Line has a bunch of things built into it too for like code stepping and inspecting what's happening at each line, so like the breakpoints and whatnot. So that's helpful as well. And then sometimes there's like that thing with I forgot what it was specifically, but you can do this thing to check to see how much your program misses or hits cache. So I also like doing that to see how cache coherent and performant my memory layout is. So it's a thing like in Linux. I'm not sure how you do it in Windows. Do you work out? I used to do it very regularly, not anymore. I need to get back onto it though, because I've been feeling the decay of not working out as I once did. So I need to get back on training. It's mayonnaise backwards? Oh, it's mayonnaise. Okay, yeah. You watching this guy while I'm working, not touching my own game. I really need time management. Hey man, just do the thing. Just multitask. Do both, man. You can always do both, man. I can't spell. That's all good. I can't either. Awesome. Thank you, little Miss Jones. Yeah. Oh, I missed the Google search on first glance. What's up, Steel Waters? Of course, Sam. I streamed Little Big Planet like this past Saturday. The whole stream was me playing Little Big Planet, and then at the end I played FTL. But yeah, that's what got me into making games. Have you ever tried time travel debugger? No, I never tried that. That sounds cool though. Time travel debugger. Yeah, it's literally my favorite game ever. That's my favorite game. In fact, that's kind of it's kind of like an end goal. I have like a bunch of games I'm working on and I have planned. Like it's not just like nonsense. There's like a rhyme. I have like a list of games I'm gonna be working on in the future, and each game is like a progression towards that dream game, and that dream game is kind of very influenced by LBP. My fave game too. Let's go, Little Big Planet, dude. You mentioned C#, LSP, yeah, Roslyn for NeoVim. I train you, you teach me coding. Nah, brother. I can give you some nuggets about information and maybe some help here and there, but in the Discord. But the process of learning is largely going to be you working on projects, man. It really was, dude. It really was. It's kind of crazy, man. Out of the 3, 1 is my favorite. Like 1 is, I know the 2 has a lot more features and whatnot, and I never played 3, but 1 is near and dear to my heart. Yeah, LVP was amazing, dude. I love it. I have like a mixtape, and one of the songs is from LVP too. Would taste good. I actually do think bacon and ice cream would taste good. Master Crafter. I'm glad we meet Chio. I like 3's create mode, 2 overall. I should find a copy of 3 and give it a play. I really should. I played 1 and 2. I think I'm gonna finish playing through the series. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Because I already started playing through Little Big Planet 1 on Saturday. And we're gonna continue that this Saturday, I think. And then I have 2, so we can play through that as well and just go down memory lane. LVP's a game called Little Big Planet. It was a game that came out for the PlayStation 3, and it was really cool because it kind of had its own game engine built into it, and people can make their own levels and games in that game and publish it online, and you can download it and play with your friends. It was great. Thank you, Tendo. It's great for asking clarifying questions or giving you quick info on basic syntax logic. Yeah, rebuild. Yeah, definitely. I know when I was doing Rust, I actually used GPT a lot just to kind of like try it out. I also did that with TypeScript when I was writing my library. What FS are you using NTFS? I'm not sure what the question is. I was just dealing with the issue with that earlier. That was the whole thing I had to deal with. I was using like NTF, GP3 or GL3 or something like that, or G3. Social media, but a game, it's so awesome and unique. Yeah, nothing touches it again. I really want to make something like this. I know there's a game that's meant to do that, but there's things that, I don't know, it just seems like it's not quite capturing the same vibe. So I don't know. We'll see. I have a whole plan in mind. But I have to make a game first, and I have to make a game that's networked, and then this game engine is going to be helpful for that, and then some of the things we're doing too is going to be related to it, but we'll see. There's also a big UX element that we're just kind of ignoring that requires a lot of research. Like, it's kind of crazy going back and as an adult and seeing all the considerations that were made and the decisions technically they made to implement some stuff, and how some stuff I do in my job are kind of related to that, like in regards of like dynamic mesh generation and everything. It's really sick. If you're starting out, SDL code with Ape. SDL is great. GLFW is great. And then Raylib, I heard is great. Never used it. I think those would be good places to look at. Why or why not? Probably not. I mean, like maybe some from ground up. Nah, probably not. I need a lot of time and a lot of research. But maybe I feel like I can, but nah, probably can't. Actually, I'm gonna be real with you. I cannot do that. There's a lot of things that they did that's just still magical to this day. I can gaslight myself into thinking I can, but probably in actuality, probably not. Yeah, I hate Roblox for that. The thing is, like, I hate, and there's a general thing, and I'm probably gonna end the stream on this note, but I hate how like things are very abstracted, and I mentioned this last stream as well. And the thing I like about Little Big Planet is that it still anchors you into the real world. All the things you're manipulating in the game are real physical objects, and the thing that's really cool about that is that because it's grounded in the real world, kids can say, "Hey, I did this in the game. I can try doing this in the real world. I can take some cardboard and do some stuff with it. I can try sewing something or what have you." It's a game that, even though it's magical and cool in its own right, it's still in a weird way kind of like connects the kids to the real world and can kind of inspire people to like engage with their actual immediate environment. But games that are much more abstracted and not tied to that have this weird unreality about them. I think there's some real negative consequences too. No, it is at least, yeah. Yeah, and there's also like all this other stuff surrounding it, but yeah, Roblox can never beat a Little Big Planet. That's my take. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate your company as I worked through some of this stuff and started getting this game to look a bit more, this level at least, to look a little bit more pretty. Thank you for the company, and hope you guys enjoy the stream. And of course, there's always the Discord if you want to catch up with me over there, or post stuff, or ask questions. I'm usually pretty available over there. And yeah, as always, thank you for the company. Stay cozy, and until next time.